Okay, so what this topic is we're talking about sequences and finance. So what is a sequence? A sequence is a list of numbers in succession, and each number is called a term. So say, for example, you could have, say, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's a sequence, yeah? We've got a list of numbers happening, and, and each, it's like going on up one after the other. And what we were calling it is, so we call this T1, T2, T3, T4. So that's the fourth term in the sequence that I've listed there. So sequences can exhibit different behaviours. So your sequence, so your numbers could be increasing, getting larger. The one I just did there was increasing. It could be decreasing, or they could be constant. It might be the same number over and over. That's still a sequence. Or oscillating, which means it goes up, goes down, goes back up, and things like that. So consider the following sequences and identify their behaviour as increasing, decreasing, constant, or isolating. Also state whether the sequence has a limiting value. So let's have a first look at this. So look at this first one. This one, it's just always -3. So how will we describe that? We'd say constant, yeah, out of those words they asked us. If you look at this next one, B, if you look, it went down by 10, did it not? And then does it go down by 10 again? And then down by 10 again. So we would say this one is decreasing. And what they're saying was, is there a limiting value? So this one, is it going to stop? No, it's just decreasing by the same number, so -10. Okay, so if you look at the next one, if you look at this set of numbers, can anyone see what the pattern is? It's actually they're going through the squared numbers, see? So that's 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, okay? So, but it's increasing. Let's just keep it basic, and we're just saying it's increasing, okay? What would the next one be if it...
There's no 4 squared.
Oh, yeah, they did skip 4, sorry. That was probably a thing. Anyway, we can just say it's increasing. All right, and then in the next one, we have 10, then we go to -8, back up to 10. So what's that one? Oscillating, even. Okay, good. Okay, so you don't need to... It's not so much trying to find out what the rule is so much, like say in that second one it was always -10. It's not so much about that. It's more about just noticing whether your sequence is going up or going down, increasing. Things like that, just little things to keep in mind when you're trying to work out. You'll see later on. Okay, so what we're going to see, and we're going to see this word recursion, or we'll say a recurrence. You're going to often see them saying, like, write a recurrence relation. Okay, so that just means we're writing a sort of like a recursion sequence. Okay, so recursion involves repeating the same calculation over and over using the previous result to calculate the next. So if you have a look at our example here, so here's our sequence of numbers. We've got 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. So what you can see is the same thing is happening every time, is what we're adding to the one before. Yeah? So when it says using the previous result. So when we got to 3 and we want to get to the next one, we use the previous, so which was 3, and we added 2. All right, so let's have a look at these little examples. Let's just see if we can spot them. So if you look at the pattern, so what's happened here? We've added 6. Have we added 6 to the next one? Yep. So we've added 6 to there. So what's the next number in the sequence? 26. Good. So that's a recursive pattern. We are adding 6 every time. Okay, what about the next one? Can you see what what has happened to 5 to get to 15?
Oh, it's 3.
Good. We've times it by 3. Now 15 by 3, does that equal 45? Yeah. So then what is 135 times 3?
105.
Okay, good. All right, so that's also a recursive pattern because we're always timesing by 3 the one before. Okay, now let's look at this last one. What have we done? We have minus 3. Have we minus 3 the next time? Yep. And so what's negative 2 minus 3? Negative 5. All right? They're all recursive patterns or a recursive sequence because we're doing the same thing. So the first one, we were always adding 6. The second one, we were always multiplying the one before by 3. And the last one, we were always subtracting 3. Okay, so generating a sequence from a starting value. So we're going to see when we write recursion, when we write a recurrence relation, we often will need to write a starting value. So we're going to see later on, we'll talk a lot about, so you might say it's term 0, or we often write V0, value 0, because we're going to move into finance eventually. We're just learning what recursive is, and then we're going to apply that to financial situations. So just pop it up there because you've got your notes and you're going to be referring back. So it says, write down the first 5 terms of a sequence with a starting value of 5. So, and the rule, and then add 3. So we start with 5, and we're going to write down the first 5 terms. So we've got 5 plus 3 would be 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 3 is 14, plus 3 is 17. So just maybe if you write, just put those arrows in there so you knew what we're talking about. We're adding 3. And we've got 5 terms in the sequence there. Okay, it says write down the first 5 terms in a sequence starting with 7. And the rule is to add 5 to each term. So we've got 7. If we add 5, what do we get? 12. Add 5 is 17. Add 5 is 22. 27. Have I done? Oops, I've done 6. I didn't need to do that many. Oh, no, I hadn't. Oops, sorry. We need 27. Okay, so there's the first 5 terms in the sequence. Okay, so what you're going to show you on your calculators, and you will need your graphics calculators back for this topic, is, so I'm just going to explain it using the notes, and then I'll pop up the calculator on the board in a minute. So your calculator can do the recursive pattern with you. So what you do, so say for this first sequence, what they're doing is, see how the first one was 2, and what they're doing is they're adding 5. So what you do on your calculator, on a normal calc page, you type in 2 and you press enter, and then it sits over there. Then on the next, without pressing anything else, you then press the plus, you press plus 5, and what you'll see come up is it says the answer plus 5. So you want that, because what it means is it's taking this number that was before and it's adding 5. So then you press enter, and then you'll see this comes up, 7, which is right. And then you don't have to press anything else but enter. And if you keep pressing enter, it keeps the recursive pattern going. So you can quickly just enter that in and you can get your sequence. So say this was the first term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. Because sometimes when the rule is a little bit more complicated, what even if the rule was adding 3/4 to everything? You know, it's not gonna be so easy to do it in our head, so we'll do it on the calculator. All right.